Picture two men standing in the same room, same job, same haircut, same watch. One of them is exhausting to be around and he doesn't even know it. The other one barely says a word, and somehow everyone in the room wants to be near him. The difference between them has nothing to do with money or muscles. It comes down to one decision made a long time ago, and today I'm handing it to you. You see, most men spend their whole life chasing a woman, chasing a title, chasing a version of respect that they think they'll finally show up if they just try a little harder. But a real man stops chasing and starts choosing. And the moment that he does, the entire game flips upside down. You see, men online are being sold a fake version of strength every single day. Date lots of women, never text back first, never show emotion, stack loads of cash, show off a Lambo and Rolex. And a lot of young guys are buying into that because it looks so powerful on a phone screen. And it's a lot easier to fake a personality than to build one. But looking powerful and actually being solid are two very different things. And only one of them holds up when life actually tests you. But by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which one you are building and exactly what to fix if it's the wrong one. There are 7 things that actually separate a man who chases from a man who gets chosen. And I'm about to hand you every single one. But before I do that, I just want to quickly invite you to follow me on Instagram. I post reels and stories on Instagram pretty regularly, right? I'm talking about unfiltered thoughts, quick takes, and day in the life stories. I'll leave my link to my IG down in the description below and on the pinned comment as well. Now, let's get back to the video, because the first point out of the 7 that I'm going to give you is going to change how you see the whole topic. Point 1, high value is not a thing you own, it's a thing you are. A nice car gets you attention for about 30 seconds. A Rolex tells time extremely well, but it does not tell anyone what kind of man is wearing it. I have watched a guy pull up in the valet in a car worth more than my entire net worth and talk to the valet like, he was invisible. Everybody noticed, nobody said anything, but everybody noticed. Character, it's what shows up when money runs out, when the crowd goes home and nobody is filming, right? You could rent a car for the weekend, you could finance a watch for a few years, but you cannot rent character for a single afternoon, and you definitely cannot finance it. Point 2, a high-value man does not need the world to confirm his worth. Psychologists, they have a name for building your self-esteem entirely on outside approval. They call it contingent self-worth. And it means that your value, it goes up and down based on likes, comments, or whether, she texts back. If you ever refreshed your phone like 4 times in 10 minutes waiting on a reply, or checked how many, people liked your story every minute, then you already know exactly what this feels like. You see, a man who knows his worth does not need an audience to remind him what he already knows, right? He can walk into a silent room and still feel like himself because his value was never rented out to the crowd in the first place. Point 3, he invests in himself. Stanford researcher Carol Dweck, she spent years studying what she calls growth mindset. The belief that ability and character can actually be built through effort instead of, staying fixed forever. Her research found that people who believe that they can grow handle setbacks better and keep improving over time compared to people who think that they were simply born a certain way and stuck there. You see, high-value men are not born finished products. They are built daily, one hard choice at a time, in the gym, in their finances, in their patience, in their word. None of it is glamorous, and most of it happens when nobody's watching, which is exactly the point. It's 1% better today than 1% better tomorrow, until one day you look up and you're a completely better man than you were a year ago. Point 4, he chooses instead of chasing. Now, chasing comes from fear. It says, if I don't get this person or this opportunity right now, I will probably lose my shot forever. This is why guys shower a woman with a novel of texts after, one good date? Or they spiral into anxiety for 24 hours of a slow reply. Researchers who study attachment have found that people who chase out of fear of losing someone, what they call anxious attachment, consistently report lower relationship satisfaction over time. You see, chasing is not romantic. Choosing is calm. It shows up in small stuff too, like the way he can walk away from a bad fit without turning it into a war. Choosing says, I like you, I'm interested, and I'm also fine either way. Point 5, he is emotionally available, not emotionally desperate. Now, these two things get confused constantly. Available means you can talk about how you feel without falling apart. It means that, you can hear the word no
and still respect yourself in the morning. Researchers studying secure attachment have consistently found that people with this style report higher trust, higher commitment, and higher satisfaction in their relationships than people who, lean anxious or avoidant. Desperate is different. Desperate needs the relationship to complete a hole that was already there before anyone showed up. A whole man adds to a relationship. A desperate man is trying to get filled by one, and eventually that shows. And usually at the worst possible moment, in front of the worst possible audience. Point 6. A lot of guys online are being told that ignoring everyone and needing nobody makes them strong. They call it Sigma grindset. No friends, no feelings, just money and silence. It looks cool on screen, but real doctors who study loneliness found something different. Half of all adults say they feel lonely right now. 1 of every 5 people say that they don't need a single close friend. And for young men, it's even worse than that. Being that lonely does the same damage to your body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Hear that again. 15 cigarettes just from being alone, right? Bragging about, needing nobody, it's not something to be proud of. A real man builds people around him. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Point 7. When a man actually builds all of this, character, self-worth, growth, patience, real emotional strength, something happens that he was never chasing in the first place. People start choosing him, not because he tried to look mysterious, not because he ignored anybody on purpose, but because he built something real. And real is rare enough that people notice it from across the room without him saying a single word. You see, the strongest men in history were not the coldest men in the room. They were not the ones who, disappeared to seem interesting. They were the most disciplined ones, the ones who could hold their tongue, hold their temper, and hold their word. You do not need to chase anyone to prove that you're enough. You already are, so it's time that you started acting like it. A high-value man does not chase people. He chases growth, and the people worth having end up choosing him anyway. Now, I'm not asking you to become cold. I'm asking you to become solid enough that you never have to fake it. I built my relationship with my girlfriend on choosing over chasing. And, practically 7 years later, it is still standing because of it, not in spite of it. Understand that I got here by becoming a man worth staying for. Well, if you got any value out of this video, you know what to do. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And if you really enjoyed this video, well, the YouTube algorithm suggests that you're going to like one of these videos right here. So please make sure you check them out. Check this one out. Check this one after. Check both of them out. Check the whole entire, library of videos that are on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.